going on? Jebb here. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the massive rally that has just occurred on Bitcoin and the fact that it is currently sitting just below $44,000 and change. There are quite a few reasons to believe that this is a critical decision point where if Bitcoin does manage to have a major breakout above $44,000, that we will be able to continue our rally all the way back up to all-time high in the next 3 to 6 months. However, down on the hourly chart, we've actually just seen a confirmed sell signal on Lux Algo as we've retraced over the last 12 hours. So the question on everyone's mind right now is, are we going to break to the upside and go into a big rally, or are we about to crash up to $10,000 because there are analysts that are predicting a $35,000 Bitcoin? In fact, we're going to be talking about all of that and more in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. Make sure you tune in 9:30 Eastern every single weekday. We're bringing you the #1 technical analysis, on-chain analysis, and fundamental analysis show in the cryptocurrency space. We're also going to be talking about some institutions in Canada adopting Bitcoin, and how Cash App is going to be bringing online Lightning-enabled Bitcoin transactions. We got a lot to cover in today's show, guys, so we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. I am joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, TA Tam. How you doing, Tam?
Did you say Canada?
I did say Canada.
Canada.
I said Canada so people knew I wasn't crazy, and then I said Canada.
Canada.
It's like you know Madagascar. The other way you say it is Madagascar.
I've never heard that.
Never heard
That's
that?
okay.
China's also known as China.
It is what it is. You know, I'm joined today by this nice thing in the center of my eyeballs. You know, right as you think you're getting old.
You were joined there yesterday.
Right, yeah, I didn't notice it till after the show was over. But you know, you think you're getting old, and then you get one of those bad boys, and you're like, hey, I'm still kind of young.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'm not 900 yet.
Also, where did that come from?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't wear glasses or anything, so I have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, we're also joined as always by Smay. How are you doing, Smay?
I shouldn't have pushed that button.
Which button?
I mean, I should have pushed the button. When I unmuted you during the countdown, my finger
he
didn't
was
press
late.
hard enough.
Aww.
No, I wasn't late. I pushed the buttons. Just
I wasn't late.
My finger just was too weak, so it didn't press the button.
So that means you didn't press the
You're
button.
muted.
Touching the button is not pressing the button.
Smay, you cut off my intro.
I would like to say before I shouted out the members, I would just like to say, if anybody, and I know this is a really weird tone shift, but I just want to say that, guys, Jesus loves you, and if there's anything that you guys could possibly be going for that you need prayer for, or anything like that, reach out to us. We would love to pray for you on your behalf, and just know that you guys are not alone. Whatever you guys are going through, you're not alone. But I would like to say a special thank you to all of our members. We have Leon the Dutch, Ricardo Vinegas, Cryptosaurus Rex. We got Grand Roofing Inc., Ricardo Vinegas. We've got Crypto Couple, Just Ray, and Crypto Set Guy. You guys are so awesome and cool, and I love you guys so much. And I thank you guys for supporting this stream. We love you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much to our members. And yes, Jesus loves you. And if you need anything, please feel free to reach out, support at CryptoJebb.com, and we will be there for you. We want to love on you guys. We want to help you achieve FinSov, #financial sovereignty, and we want to see you guys succeed, you know, because crypto has changed all of our lives in massive ways that we simply didn't realize it would. And we want to be able to do the same thing for you, because there were people that guided us to where we've become and where we've been, and we want to be able to provide the same thing for you guys. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'm joined, as always, by our wonderful Kelly. How are you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing so well. I got an excellent night of sleep. It's exciting to be back here with the team here in Florida and working with everybody here at the Crypto Jebb crew, basically my crypto family and brothers in arms, and missing my wife a little bit. So shout out to my wife Alice back in New York. But we're here doing the work so we can bring all of you here that come and watch diligently on a daily basis. I just want to shout out all of you, anybody that's here on the channel, or even if this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. If you would, just tickle that like button, press the subscribe, help us get this knowledge out to more people so we can help change the world through crypto and help empower more people, just as Crypto Jebb said, financial sovereignty. With that, we got so many things to go over today. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Let's see. We got the signals for you.
Well, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and jump straight onto CoinMarketCap, take a look at what's going on in the top 10. Bitcoin sitting at $43,600. And as someone said earlier, it's pretty funny. We started the show and then boom, we started rallying, went up $200 in 2 minutes, and now we're down $250 in 3 minutes. This is on the minute chart, though, and you got to realize the minute chart really doesn't mean a whole lot of anything, so don't get too concerned about what's going on down there. We're going to do plenty of technical analysis here in a second. But just remember that Bitcoin is up 12% over the last 7 days. Ethereum up 10%. 4%. Both of them sitting pretty neutral over the last 24 hours. Binance Coin down 3%, but up 10% on the week. We can see that XRP up 10% again, up 35% on the week. If we go to XRP, we'll be able to see that XRP has gone into a rally. Let me go ahead and show you XRP. It has done relatively well over the last couple of weeks, over the last couple of days, excuse me. It hasn't even been a couple of weeks. It's been over the last 3-4 days. Rallied 54%, 32 cents from 60 all the way up to 90. Definitely a good deal for the XRP community. Solana's down 5%, Luna's down 3%, DOT down 3%, Avalanche up 3%. That's great. I told you guys in yesterday's stream, I want to see Avalanche get up to $100 and change, and that will give me some confidence that this market is going to rally. Now, the thing I want to show you on the top 100 here, because CoinMarketCap has finally fixed it so that when you sort by the top 100, it don't sort by biggest gainers and losers, it only shows you the top 100. If we look at the top 100 here on CoinMarketCap, we can see IOTEX is up 20%, Kadena up 20%, Sheeb up 14%, XRP up 10%. So there are some pretty large gainers, but for the most part, the market's actually down, and overall it is down. We can see Render Token down 10%, Gala down 10%, Helium down 10%, Mina down 7%, Waves down 7.5%. And this is the point that we've been making, guys. And I really just want to kind of, zoom in on this, because we've been talking about how, hey, yes, Bitcoin is in an uptrend. Yes, we have things like a bullish buy signal on the daily chart for Lux Algo. Yes, on the 3-daily chart, we see that MACD is crossing bullish and RSI is doing what it wants to do, and we're above $42,000. Yes, all of that is true, but here's the deal, guys. Let me just make it very clear to you, it's not confirmed. Bitcoin has been rallying for under a week. It has been rallying and confidently breaking uptrends for under a week, and I want you guys to remember that we need to have confirmations, and we need to give it time for the market to really prove itself. The market has not proved itself right now, and when we say in the title, could it rally or could it crash, we mean that, because to be honest with you, in 30 days, Bitcoin could be sitting $15,000 above here, or it could be sitting $10,000 below here down at 33K. There is a strong argument to be made for both of them, and at this point, I have an inclination that we're going to rally, but we don't know yet because Bitcoin has not made that decision. It's an if-then statement, guys. I have my inclination that we're going to go through the bullish if-then statement and rally, but there are plenty of reasons to believe that that might not happen, and we're going to talk about all of them. Tim, how should we approach markets like this that have only rallied for 4 or 5 days? How confident should we be in a trend that is this young?
I mean, anything that can go that quickly one way can go quickly the other way. Retracements happen both to the upside and the downside. It is one of those things. I put on my Twitter last night. This morning we rallied, I think, or sometime last night we rallied all the way up to, 45.5. So, great job, Bitcoin. The problem is, where was that daily close? What was I saying yesterday we needed to close above to cancel out bearish RSI divergence on the daily chart? We needed it to close above 44. It did not. It closed literally 200 lower than that. So this is another waiting game Bitcoin is putting us in right now. And people hate that. People want it to just be a rally, but you got to wait for confirmation. And guess what? There's not been confirmation that it's ready yet.
Yep.
If we can close today above, great. That's what we need. But if we can't, you got to continue to play out the cards that you're dealing with. You can't just wishfully hope that things are going to happen. That's how you get wrecked.
Absolutely. Well, guys, now we're going to go ahead and jump into our Bitcoin technical analysis, and we're going to go ahead and run through all of this. The very first thing I want to show you is down on the minute chart. Take a look at this volatility, guys. We saw Bitcoin rally at 9:30 to 9:32, $200. Then over the span of the next 3 minutes, Bitcoin dropped $250. Then over the span of the last 4 minutes, Bitcoin rallied $300. So there's a lot of volatility going on down here on the minute chart. But one of the things I want you to keep in mind on the minute chart is that even though it is definitely a very short-term time frame, you can do technical analysis on it. And we actually had a bear pennant this morning, which broke to the downside, as you would expect. It predicted a $42,700 movement. We only went down to $43,000. But the point here is that Bitcoin on the minute chart is actually in a bear flag. It's a relatively strong bear flag as far as it's relatively bullish, but this is technically a bear flag. And technically speaking, we should be expecting for this to break to the downside following a price target like this that would push it down to 43,000. That's just a minute chart TA for any of you guys who are interested in that. But the thing that's really interesting down here on the minute chart is this blue line right here at $43,600. If I go out to the hourly chart, you'll see where that comes into play. Looking back over here on a couple weeks ago of price action, you're going to see that that lines up very, very clearly with some of our local highs that we had set back here in the month of January, early January. We set $43,600 as critical resistance over and over again. So if you remember today's title, Bitcoin testing critical resistance, this is the critical resistance right here. This is what I'm talking about. Bitcoin at the moment is hovering around it, but we have not confidently broke it. You might say, but Jebb, look, we did break it. We rallied all the way up to $45,500 last night. Do you not see that? How are you not seeing this? We rallied to $45,600. Obviously, we broke it. Well, no, actually, we didn't, because literally 20 minutes ago, we were below that line. So we have not confidently broken it. The thing you have to remember about trend lines and all lines is that they're not actually lines. They are zones. There is always a catchment zone around every single trend line. And in this case, it would probably look something a little bit like this. You can see this zone right here. Just connect the absolute tops up here and a little bit more, and then some of the lows down here, and then that's the actual resistance zone that we're looking at. There is no such thing as a resistance line. There is always going to be a little bit of a zone, because you will never be able to say, okay, the resistance on Bitcoin, $43,852.94. That is not the way it works, because some people are going to put their resistance level 1 cent above that, or 1 cent below, or their sell order 1 cent above that, or 1 cent below that. They're going to put it $100 above that, or $100 below that. So this is the resistance zone that we're tackling right now. The question is, will we be able to confidently break bullish out of it or not? If we don't, what we're almost certainly going to do is pull back down here towards $39,500. Now, we're going to talk about the reasons why that might occur, but Tim, what are the major levels of support that you are looking at if Bitcoin does not manage to continue and rally above this zone?
Yeah, no, I mean, the first one is the obvious 42. That was a key level during this, back in, again, early January, we kind of hovered between 40 and 44, but 42 was kind of a middle point there. So the first one I'm looking at is 42. After that, again, I would look at 40. Then I would look at about 39. It's going to be somewhere between 39 and 39.5. And then after that, I think if we break below 39.5, I do think what's the point other than to go down and set up lower than that $35,000 daily close. So again, I'm not saying it's an absolute certainty we go all the way down there. There are levels of support between where we are right now and 35,000. However, again, there's the possibility still stays in the cards, but let's focus on 42 and 39 first.
Yeah, and I'm definitely seeing a lot of reason to believe that we could potentially go down to that $39,000 level. In fact, that 39K level is the 50% Fibonacci retracement from the local low, the absolute low of this downtrend at $33,000, extrapolated all the way up to our local high that we set last night. That 50% retracement is $39,000. So to be clear, guys, I said this once, I'm gonna say it again. I'll probably say it 20 times before the stream's over. I am bullish on Bitcoin. At this point, I do think that we are going to go into an uptrend. However, we are not in an uptrend yet. We are in a tertiary uptrend to the secondary downtrend. We have to bet on the trend because the trend is our friend until it ends. We have not exited the tertiary uptrend to go into the secondary downtrend. What am I talking about? What is this tertiary secondary nonsense? Well, here's the deal. We are in a primary uptrend, meaning that we're in a bull market. Primary means bull market, bear market. Secondary means a contrary trend to the primary trend. So we're in a bull market. This is primary. This is called first order. So first order trend right here. Our second order trend is anything that is in contrast to that longer term trend. So you can see that this would be a secondary downtrend, secondary downtrend, secondary downtrend, secondary downtrend. But then when you zoom in, you start to see tertiary trends, which actually go against the secondary trend. Right now, we are in a tertiary uptrend. This is a third order trend to the second order downtrend to the primary uptrend. I hope that makes sense. That's just some market anatomy is what you might call that. That goes back to the Dow theory of markets from over 100 years ago when we were first figuring out, and when I say we, I mean technical analysts were first figuring out how to analyze price action charts. They realized that that is how you want to look at them. You want to look at primary, secondary, tertiary, and if you have a very small trend, even a quaternary trend, that'd be a fourth order. Here's the deal though, guys. Right now, we are in a secondary uptrend, but we have not had enough confirmations to say that this trend is over. This secondary downtrend is very much in effect. Right around here, this secondary downtrend was nullified, but during this time, this was just a tertiary trend. A secondary uptrend that followed the primary one did not start yet. So here's the point. Until we see confirmation, we are still in a downtrend. I hope that made sense. That's kind of a hard thing to explain. The point is, though, the simple point is, though, that we need to see confirmation, and we have not seen that yet. So here are some of the things that I am concerned about down here on the hourly chart. Very first thing that I'm going to point out is that there is actually bearish RSI divergence that is formed on the 1 hour chart. You can see on the 1 hourly chart down here that there is a downtrending level of resistance on RSI and an uptrending level of resistance on the price action. On top of that, if we bring up Lux Algo down here on the hourly chart, you will see that we have a confirmed sell signal. We have a sell signal followed by red trend catcher and then also followed by red Lux oscillator. So that tells us that we are in a confirmed downtrend. On top of that, down on the 1 hourly chart, we can see that there is a bearish MACD cross that came in about 8 hours ago. So all of that tells us, okay, look, the market is relatively weak right now compared to where it was a day or two ago. On top of that, RSI is sitting down here at 50. It briefly dropped below 50. That tells us that the bears are starting to get more powerful. And also, if you look at Lux Algo's reversal zones on pretty much all of these time frames, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, we are currently sitting inside the top of the reversal zones. In fact, we've gone very, very deep into them. So that tells us two things. Number one, it tells us there's a lot of bullish sentiment right now, but two, it also tells us that we need to see a correction. So Kelly, I actually want to hear your take on this. What are you seeing from some of the short-term indicators? Are you seeing some short-term indicators that would, well, indicate that we're going to see a drop down to that 42 level or maybe even down to 40?
Yeah, well, let me pull up here on Market Cipher. I was actually just staring at the weekly and I was going to break it down backwards, but I'll just start here at the 4 hour. The 4 hour definitely does show we do have a red dot, momentum starting to come back down. RSIs are angled down and the VWAP is coming down. You can almost see here that the money flow is starting to move down a bit here, but this is not enough of an oscillation based on this move that we have that I'd really call that significant money coming out. And then in addition to that, I would say that here, basically contrary to that, actually, I would say, looking here, I noticed this yesterday, looking on a much longer time frame on the 2-week chart, we have actually here, if I bring up the RSI, you can see we have actually just basically set up this huge trend line that we just bounced off of. So this is kind of like the confluence of, or the frustrative thing that we can, as YouTubers can say and analysts can say, it could go up, it could go down. Well, in this term, I would say that just like we showed yesterday on Market Cipher, here, let me see. There we go. On Market Cipher, we did on the weekly have that cross to the VWAP coming back up and the momentum coming up. So in terms of how this week is going to play out, I do think it's going to end over the next 5 to 7 days, probably up, but coming on these smaller time frames, Market Cipher starting to roll over, the 4 hours starting to roll over, and in addition to that, if we go back here on just a traditional TA, the RSI is finally above the 50, but much in confluence with what Tim and you both said, Jebb, is that we're fighting right here at the 382 on the basically this is on the daily chart. The RSI is up, but I can see a very clear path for this RSI to actually come back and actually basically essentially test if we were going to go into a bull trend, and that would be testing, coming back in this RSI testing right where I've circled here around the 50, which also is perfectly in line with what you said, Tim, coming back down to basically this level here, somewhere between the 39 and the 36. And if we zoom this in here, you can see on the fib that I did, a fib retracement, the 36 to 37 level would actually be the golden pocket for retracement coming back down. So if we have very strong bullish sentiment to hold and the short-term sellers stop selling, I definitely think we can hold above the 39. But if there are still short-term sellers that are getting shaken out, then I think we will very likely come down to the 36K level for this golden pocket. And that would also set up the RSI to retest at the 50 to confirm whether or not we're going to stay in a bull trend or continue downtrend.
Boom. Well, Tim, did you have something to say on that?
I do.
Go ahead.
So people are going to think that I'm going back on myself, but I'm not, and I want to explain why. And I'm going to be as brief as possible. So, you go to my chart real quick. I'm going to show a couple different things. I'm going to pull up the volume. I'm going to pull up the TD sequential and the Bollinger Band. So, guys, I've said now for a couple of days, I do believe there's still a case for going down to 33, but I do want you guys to know this is on a smaller time frame. I'm looking at the hourly chart right now. This is my prediction, actually, for the rest of the day that I think is probably going to happen. And there's one caveat, and that's if disaster falls and we drop below, if we just fall below 41,000. 300, then this changes. You know, that cancels out. But what I'm seeing right now, as Jebb pointed out, we did have this bearish RSI divergence. It wasn't crazy. It was strong in a long time frame, but it wasn't strong short time frame. And this is what I'm seeing. We also are looking at bullish RSI divergence right now. As you guys can see right here, clearly the RSI has gone down / sideways, whereas the price difference is massively to the upside. So here's the thing. I actually think, looking at the Bollinger Bands right here, looking at where we are with you know, the T sequential, we had a red 7 or a bullish 7, you know, call it green 7, whatever you want to call it. This is saying we are getting close to where we could be seeing TD sequential predict a reverse. We're also at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. What is the top of the Bollinger Bands right there? Right at where our candle bodies closed, around 44,900. I would not be surprised, / I kind of think this is what's going to happen. I think that we are going to rally using this bullish RSI divergence for today. Hourly charts, very quick. We're going to rally. We actually are going to close a candle body above 45,000. Now, what that's going to do, however, is on the 4-hourly chart, we're going to set it up to where on the, you know, I don't need the Bollinger Band sequential anymore. We're going to rally up here. We're going to close a candle somewhere up in this region right here, okay? So I'm drawing a line right there. We're going to close, but the RSI is not going to make it up there. The RSI is not going to close as high as 83. This will set up a bearish RSI divergence reversal. We're going to come back down. The daily chart shows we probably need to come back down at least again to 39. But I think people are going to get faked out. I think people are going to see us rally back up above $45,000 and say, oh, all these people saying we're going down were wrong. That's not what's happening. We're rallying. And watch us have another fake out before that actually sets up what we need. Because this is very weak bearish RSI divergence on the 4-hourly chart, not very strong. I think that we can form a little bit stronger where the price goes a little higher, but the RSI stays low, and that's what's going to cause us to go down at least, like I said, to the $39,000 level somewhere. Let's see, right in here. And then what we could do, this is the saving grace to prevent 33,000. If we can close somewhere around 39.6, we would set up, what is that? Inverse head and shoulders
Boom,
pattern.
I was about to say that.
And then we can move bullish. There's a lot of ifs then statements there, but just remember, if we drop to 41 right now, everything I just said, throw that out. But if we don't, we do have the bullish RSI divergence to rally back up above 45 to then set up bearish RSI divergence, which would take us down at least here. If not, there's a chance we still come down to this around 33, 34, somewhere in that region, setting up daily bullish RSI divergence. And guess what? Tomorrow I'm making a video on why that would be very significant. But I'm going to wait till tomorrow to give you guys the details on why.
Boom, guys, make sure you look forward to that. Now, I want to show you something else on the liquidations front. This is a market indication that I look at quite a bit. Taking a look here at coinglass.com/liquidations data. This is a site I go to quite frequently. We're not sponsored by them or anything. We just enjoy their site. We can see, if we go to the period of 15 minutes, we can see that over the span of different 15-minute intervals, over the last, ever since 3 a.m., about 6 hours ago, we have seen $15 million get liquidated on Bitcoin 3 times. 15 million here, 17.5 million there, 13 million there, 7 million there. A lot of longs have been getting liquidated ever since we hit this top. And this is the thing that I'm kind of not concerned about, but the thing I want you guys to keep in mind, and that is that, as I've talked about for the last 2 weeks, actually, I've been talking about this for the last 2 months. Whenever we go into an uptrend, people get exuberant and they say, oh, goody, we're going into an uptrend. I'm going to long. And then guess what happens? They didn't wait for the confirmation that we told you guys about. I said, wait 7 to 10 days after we see Lux Algo buy flash on the daily chart that's confirmed, after we see a 3-daily chart MACD cross that's confirmed, after we see RSI break the 14 interval moving average on the 3-day chart, and then also wait for us to get above $42,000. Give all of those indications 7 to 10 days, and then think about going into a long position. At this point, it has not been 7 to 10 days. It's been 2 or 3. And what's happening right now is a lot of people are not following that heed, either because they haven't heard or they don't know. And they are entering long positions right now when we have not even broken a local top yet. We have not even broken $44,500, which is our local top over here. We have not even broken up here at $48,400. We have not even broken $52,000. A lot of people are in longs right now expecting, okay, Bitcoin's going back to all-time high, and I think it's going to go back to all-time high, but we need confirmation before we go and put our money on the line. We're dealing with finances here, guys. This is really important. We got to make sure we're being careful and stewarding our resources correctly, because there's people that are counting on us to be successful so that we can be of service to them, and so that we can be of service to ourselves, so that we can help ourselves, so that we can, give generously and, give joyfully. We want to be able to do that kind of thing, but to do that, we need financial sovereignty. And one of the ways that you will achieve financial sovereignty is by being wise with your assets, not going into longs too quickly. And what has happened here is we had about $100 million in total worth of longs get liquidated in the last 8 hours. And I don't fear, but I am concerned, I should say, that if we do start going into a downtrend towards 42K, that there's a bunch of longs that are going to get liquidated down here. And if we go down to $39,000, we could see another cascading long event that could wipe out a lot of our progress. Tim, I want to hear your take on that. Do you think that we're going to see a cascading liquidation of longs that could cause a flash crash and ruin this uptrend?
I don't know. So, the good news is, this is the very good news, is this rally did not really come because of longs. There's actually metrics have shown there, yes, people entered longs, but not a ridiculous amount. We actually think this rally potentially was sparked by the spot ETF, and we talked about it on Friday, where we needed to be to have bullish momentum. We ended up being way above what we needed. So the good news is I don't think the longs themselves are going to be what gets liquidated and cause us to go all the way back down. I think it has way more to do with the whales wanting to buy in at those lower prices. But what I will say, and again, while I still hold that is something that could happen, and I think there's a very good reason why we need to go down that low for long-term bullish action, there's still a case like maybe the whales will say, you know what, I think a lot of people are ready. Let's go down to 39. Let's buy at 39.6 region. And then we'll be ready to go. There's a lot still on the cards that could happen. This is kind of a boat where we need to wait and see. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of ifs. And due to that, I'm not confident right now to either buy or sell if I was doing trading.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And the reason is because we have not seen that confirmation yet. Right now, we are in the process of going against the longer-term downtrend. We need to see some more confirmation that is going to occur. Now, if we look out here on the 4-hourly chart, I'm going from memory here, but I do believe that, actually, I take that back. I was going to say there was some bearish RSI divergence here, but there's not that I'm looking for anyway. Now, the thing I do want you guys to keep in mind is that Bitcoin does have a lot of bullish fundamentals right now. It does have a lot of bullish on-chain, and there are a lot of reasons to believe that we're going to go into an uptrend. Again, I've said it like 4 times, and we'll say it again. I do believe, and I am in the camp, that the bulls are going to win, but the bulls have not started winning yet. I need to be very clear on that. I am bearish until proven bullish. I want to be bullish because I see the technical indicators, I see the fundamental indicators, I see the on-chain, I see where the sentiment is going, but I am bearish until I am proven bullish, because that is what logic and my wisdom and my 5 years of work in this market has shown me that I need to do. I might want Bitcoin to go to $50,000, but I cannot in good conscience come on this channel in front of 20,000 people that'll end up seeing this video and tell you I think Bitcoin's going to $50,000 when I don't have confirmation of that. That would be irresponsible of me, because it would lead you astray. So I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And what you need to hear is that, yes, Bitcoin wants to be bullish, but Bitcoin has not proven it yet. And that is my stance on the matter. Now, with that said, I do want to throw it to Kelly for some on-chain and some news. Kelly, take it away, my friend. We got some headlines to cover and some really interesting stories as well.
Absolutely. And I've got some on-chain stuff I want to share to support everything we're saying, both on the bullish and the bearish front, or I should say on the bullish and the conservative front, because even though we might have a small correction from here, that doesn't mean that the bulls aren't starting to gain all the signals and the fundamentals needed to actually make that follow through, but we do need to trade safe. So I'm going to share. Here we go. So, and I apologize yesterday on the on-chain, I wasn't able to share my screen. So I hope it's up now. And here you can see, I shared this on my Twitter. This is from IT Tech. And if we bring this up here, this is showing the exchange net flow. And we've talked about this many times, that when you have money going into exchange, that's essentially it tends to be a signal for people looking to be prepared to exit the market or trade out because they think the price is going down. When there's when there's an outweighing of money coming off exchange, that's a setup for whatever coin that is coming off exchange to be in preparation for being a long-term holder, to trade. And in this case, you can see on the bottom side here, this is still outweighing. We had a little bit of an uptick here, but overall, we're still having larger outflows and inflows. This is the minor reserve. So this is how much coin the miners are holding. If it's coming down, it means they're selling. It means they're taking profits because they don't think they're going to have an opportunity to harvest profits at a higher price. So they're offloading before the price goes down further so they can reaccumulate at lower prices. And in this case, you see this purple line, miners' reserves are going up. And this very similar to the outflow and inflow metric. The exchange reserves, look how low this exchange reserve is, how much Bitcoin is on exchanges available to trade. This is an incredibly bullish setup. It doesn't mean it's a bullish guarantee. It means that this metric is showing overall that it's supporting this narrative of the inflows and outflows, as well as how much coin the exchanges are holding in reserve on their exchanges. And this last thing I want to show here, this is miner outflows. This is another one that supports what we were talking about with miners selling or taking profit. And the miners are essentially sitting on their coins now. They're holding them longer term. They're also the major players in the mining industry are holding their coins. They're not using them. They're not liquidating them for profits because a lot of them are publicly traded now. So they have funding, which is incredibly bullish in the long term. We're still going to have this volatility up and down from where we're at. The next two or three things I wanted to share is this is basically supports what we were talking about with the short squeezes. And you can see here, this is the short squeezes. This is over the last few days. This is a 180-minute moving average. But you're seeing every time we're having this price movement, we're also having a lot of short squeezes. But what I want to make you aware of here is, especially when we're getting this jolts of exuberance and bullish excitement, just because we're having small price changes, that also means we're going to be stacking up leverage for longs, which at the end of the day, big money players are in this to make a lot. I mean, we're all in this to make money, but big money players are in this to make money, and they have the means to move the market. So if we're getting overextended with leverage with longs, that gives them the option of a lot of liquidity that they can take very easily by just moving the price just past certain liquidation points. So I do think we are going to have that liquidity tapped, and it gives us more, not confidence, but more of a possibility that we are going to have that move down back to test the 36K level, the 39K level, somewhere in there. And then,
real quick, even interrupting you, Kelly, based off what you're saying there, do you think that we will hit a 36K level, or do you think, okay, because I'm kind of looking at it, I mean, it's always possible, anything's possible, but I kind of think it's either 39 or down to 34 at least. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, 39, I think, is if we maintain overall in the market, we have the buyers there to buy. If people aren't exhausted from buying the dip, which there's been a lot of dips coming down from 68. So I'm not saying that it's more or less likely. I think that's yet to be seen. Gotcha. If we're able to, if the tipping point gets pushed, then I think it's very likely that the reason I say 36 is because from where we went down to and then where we just plateaued at and started to come back down, the 36K level is basically right in that golden pocket zone for retracement level on the fib. So that's where I see that. If we go beyond that, we very well could go down to the 33.5, 34 level. But I think that would be more bearish than if we were only to go down to that golden pocket at the 36K level. And this is kind of supported with this metric here. This is showing in a bizarre way a bullish divergence on the funding rates. You see here, like right here on this chart, this was the price action when we came down to 29 back in what was this, May through July, and this was the funding rates basically having a bullish divergence on that, and then they rocket up. And we're having a very similar setup here. And look at this time frame: 70 bars, 70 bars. So we're kind of in that pocket in terms of if we're going to play out a similar fractal, which is never guaranteed, but we are setting up similar sort of metrics. And that being said, looking at the stablecoin supply ratio, or the SSR, if you're looking it up on on-chain stuff, we have a lot. When you have this on this negative side here, this is showing a lot of stablecoin essentially on the sideline, which, if you think about it, is essentially liquidity that you can tap to then have buying power. So just like right here, same point right here where we had the May to July downtrend, we had a lot of stablecoin on the sideline waiting for that entry. And as it started to tick up, it started building bullish pressure. And as you can see here, we're just kind of setting up that same narrative. So with all those things combined with on-chain, I think we still have a little bit of the shakeout because there's a lot of liquidity on both shorts and longs. But once those funding, the over leverage on the open interest sort of starts coming down and everybody gets shaken out, I do think we'll kick in there. I'm just curious your thoughts on these metrics, and then after that we can dive into a couple of the headlines.
Yeah, well, I think the thing we have to remember is that all of the on-chain metrics are overwhelmingly bullish right now, and actually they have been for a while. We have seen something called a supply shock going on in the cryptocurrency space where money is being pulled off of exchange. As you talked about, the miners are hodling. We're seeing a lot of people hodling. We're seeing long-term hodling. I've heard people call it hodling. We're seeing a lot of people hodling their Bitcoin. I sound Canadian now. We're seeing a lot of, I don't know why I'm going after Canada so much today. I don't know. I like Canadians. It's all good. But nevertheless, a lot of people are hodling right now in a way that we haven't seen in a while. The on-chain metrics look very, very bullish, and all of this tells us that the supply is in a position where we're able to be very exuberant about what's going to happen in the next year. That does not mean that we're going to be able to be extremely exuberant about what's going to happen tomorrow. That means that we have strong underlying intrinsics, but it doesn't mean that those underlying intrinsics are going to push us to the upside right now. And you actually see an evidence of that down here on the minute chart. Now, again, before I even go to the minute chart, I want to encourage you, don't pay too much attention to the minute chart. So this is a very simple point because nothing has happened yet, but even in just the last 15 minutes, Bitcoin is down $500. So I don't put a lot of stock in that. What I did tell you earlier today when the stream started was that we were in a bull flag right now. If you go back on the stream, I literally showed you this. I showed that you that we were in a bear flag, and that the price target for that would be down at 43,000. We are currently following through on breaking bearish out of that bear flag down there on the minute chart. So the point here is the on-chains and the fundamentals and the supply and all of that are very, very bullish, but it takes time. The thing that you have to keep in mind is that it is supply and demand, not just supply. It is supply and demand that affects price. Right now, the demand is low. The supply is in one of the best places that it's ever been, guys. The amount of, Kelly, do you know the number off the top of your head what the long-term hodler ratio is? The number of people that have been holding, the number of Bitcoin that have been held for more than 155 days, I want to say it's 84% of them have been held for more than 155 days and not moved. Do you know that number?
It's very high up there, and in fact, even looking at the short-term supply, short-term holder ratio, even with that, that's been the major catalyst for the downtrend. And even within that, I think it's only like 35% have been taking profit or selling at a loss. So, I mean, it's such a minuscule amount that's been driving this downward price. So it's really right now, the only thing that's really holding this back isn't the sell pressure. It's the lack of demand. It's the lack of confidence that we're going to be moving back up. So as soon as that starts rounding the corner, the sell pressure will be essentially non-existent.
And the good news is that is a perfect setup, because as soon as we see that buy pressure come back in from an Amazon adopting Bitcoin, or a Microsoft adopting Bitcoin, or an Apple adopting Bitcoin, or any of these major companies adopting Bitcoin, then that's what we're going to see happen. We're going to see Bitcoin have a lot more demand come in from the traditional space. Right now, people are still worried about the Russia-Ukraine story. That's kind of tapered off a little bit. People aren't talking about that quite as much, but that fear, uncertainty, and doubt is still there. They're still worried about the S&P 500. The SPY, if we go over and look at the SPY, it's recovered a little bit, but it's still down from all-time high, down 7%. You know, the stock market goes up forever, but there is a little bit of a downtrend that has happened over the last, ever since Christmas, and that is scaring people. The Dixie, if you look over at the dollar currency index, that is taking a little bit of a hit. We can even see that that's happened over the last week. You would think over the last week, if that goes down 2%, that people would get scared of the dollar and move into Bitcoin, but most people don't see Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation just yet. They see it as a risky asset still. So the point is, guys, the supply is great. The supply is exactly where we want it to be. Now all we need is something to knock over that first domino. That's all we need. And maybe that's Bitcoin getting above $44,000 and staying there for a week. Maybe that's Bitcoin getting above $50,000 and then having a big explosive rally on the daily chart. Maybe that's having $1 billion of shorts getting liquidated. I don't know what it's going to be. I can't tell you what it's going to be because I don't have a crystal ball or a DeLorean or a time machine, but what I can tell you is that it's there. And something's going to happen. And it might not be today, and it might not be tomorrow, and it might not be this week, and it might not be this month, but it's going to be this year. I'm pretty confident in that. The supply is amazing. The on-chain is amazing. The institutional adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is amazing, which, by the way, if we haven't talked about that just yet, we're about to. Going on up in Canada. We have so many bullish factors right now, and I just want to remind you of that, because that does not mean that we should go into a long trade and make a bullish bet on the next 7 days of price action, but it does mean that we can be confident in the long-term uptrend of this market. Tim, do you have any thoughts on all of the metrics that he just talked about?
No, I liked him a lot. What to keep in mind, remember, a lot of time people want those on-chain metrics to affect the news here in the next 10 hours. You know, that's not how those work. Those are not hourly on-chain metrics. Those are long-term metrics that we're not exactly sure when it's going to flash and actually happen. But it is something to keep your eye on. I've said this. I said this to my brother yesterday. He was asking me about investing. I was like, listen, at the end of the day, how long are you planning on holding whatever you're about to invest? He said, oh, a long time. I was like, well, then don't wait. Don't wait for the price to go down. You know, if you're trading, wait for the price to come back down a little bit. But if you're going to invest in Bitcoin or Cardano or Ethereum or DOT for the next 15 years and you're not going to touch it, what is really the big difference? And when we look back, the difference between 44,000 or 39,000 is not that significant, or even 33. It's just not that significant
It's really
to
not.
freak out and say, no, I'm going to hold on and wait for the bottom. It's like, no, time in the market beats timing the market every single day, especially if you're looking long term.
You know what's funny? Everybody in chat is saying that, oh, Jebb needs more caffeine. You know, the funny thing is, I do have a drink every morning. It's called Nat, that hashtag not sponsored, that has caffeine in it, but it's only got like 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. And I only drank like half of it this morning. So I actually have very little caffeine in me. I'm just excited. It's just a good day.
Just excited about the market.
I'm just excited about the market, man. What? I can't be excited? Guys, I also want to throw it to Smay. Smay, what are you thinking about the current market? When do you think the turtle market's going to be over? We need some turtle TA.
I'm touching the mic just so I can move it so I cannot touch it.
Sure.
Because just so you know, I'm actually pushing buttons here, so I move the mic out of the way, so then I move it back when I'm here to talk.
Sure.
Hey, you don't just sit there. Don't just sit there and judge me. You know,
that was not judgment.
I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to the audience.
Complete agreement.
No, I'm talking to the audience.
I think they were agreeing too.
They're sitting there in their chairs. I bet somebody's in the bathroom, and he's looking at me, and he's judging me. You know, I see you. Or
I hope you don't see
But
him.
anyways, okay. Anyways, ask the question again. Sorry.
What's your thought on the market?
Okay. All right, guys.
Some freak.
Guys.
You need some caffeine.
Oh my god.
I do. I had uncaffeinated tea, and
Why?
That's not a thing.
That's lame.
because I don't have I brought my coffee maker here, so I don't have one in my house.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna level with you. Right now, I agree 100% with what Jebb just said. That we need some kind of catalyst to launch us into. I think the days of unwarranted pumping. I think we need something. We need that interest back. We need institutions to be able to realize that it's a safe place to invest, that there's regulatory clarity and all the things they're waiting for. And that's pretty much it. It's that simple. There's just not money going into it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
There it is.
But the good news is that money is going to be coming into it. Guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and jump into an intermission. We're going to read some super chats. We're going to read some of your chat. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in today. We've got 3,000 people watching. Let's get that like button up above 1,200. We really appreciate when you guys hit the like button. And the reason we appreciate that so much is because it helps YouTube to promote our content in the YouTube algorithm. We believe that we're providing very high quality technical and on-chain and fundamental analysis every single day. And we want to be able to share this content and what we know with more people. So when you hit that like button, you're helping us to get the word out and spread the good news of Bitcoin and crypto. So hit that like button. And also, by the way, today's show is brought to you by Lux Algo. It is one of the sponsors of our channel, and it is my favorite technical indicator, hands down, bar none. I love it. You saw me do some technical analysis on Bitcoin with it earlier. I talked about how it's telling us that we might be about to go into a downtrend on the 1 hour chart, which if you take a look at the 1 hour chart, just go ahead and jump onto my chart really quickly. Looking at Lux Algo, you can see it said that there was a confirmed sell signal right here. And then what's happening? We're starting to go into a downtrend. What happened when we went into an uptrend? Confirmed buy signal. Called this whole movement, guys. Lux Algo is a phenomenal technical indicator. I personally know the man who created it, and I'm a very big fan of not only the team behind it, the leadership behind it, but also most importantly, the product itself. I would use it every single day, even if they were not a sponsor of the channel. But if you sign up with the link in the description box down below, you will get 20% off at you will get 20% off at checkout by using coupon code Jebb, Jebb. Anybody in chat, feel free to ask questions to other people in chat what they think about Lux Algo. But let's go ahead and answer some super chats.
Yeah, we're going to be really quick here, just so you guys know, anyone who's waiting, we will be discussing the key KPMG news here very quickly, here shortly. And then we'll also be talking about institutional adoption of Bitcoin as a whole. So make sure you stay tuned. Don't tune out. We have a very good rest of the show lined up. But super chats we have, not a lot. We have one from yesterday, Siobhan Goley. I want to start off by saying, Siobhan Goley, you are faithful, my friend. You are faithful that if you don't get the answer, you are emailing our support team. So this is from yesterday, Siobhan. I hope we can answer this as best we can without jumping into financial advice. But he says, is it a good time to buy Luna and ADA for short term or long term? Thanks a lot for my missed chat. I appreciate the effort the team puts in every day. So again, we're getting into the boat of financial advice, so we have to answer this carefully. But Jebb, what would you say to that?
Yeah, long term, first and foremost, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. We're not entering into an agreement or a contract or any kind of dealing where I am a financial advisor of you. I am just giving you my honest opinion. In my honest opinion, I think now is a phenomenal time to be buying Cardano and Luna. And to be honest with you, I've bought Cardano at these levels recently, and I'm looking to buy some more Luna at these levels. Haven't bought any Luna yet, but I'm thinking about doing it. I think Luna is a great project. So yeah, I can give you my opinion. Can't give you advice, but I can give you my opinion. I think that they're fine projects. I think both of them are leaders in what they do. I think Terra Luna is the #1 algorithmic stablecoin project in the entire cryptocurrency space, and I think that Cardano is the #1 layer 2 blockchain to build smart contracts on. Yeah, I actually think it's better than Ethereum. It just doesn't have as large of a community, as large of an ecosystem yet, but I do think it's going to get there. I'm not saying Cardano is going to flip Ethereum, but I do think its technology is actually better. So yeah, that's my opinion on those two projects. I think they're phenomenal projects, and I see nothing wrong with buying them at these levels.
He just gave another one, and I'm going to reword what he said, because he said, should I buy AVAX or Luna? But I'm going to reword that for you, Jebb, to answer. Which do you like? AVAX. So okay. I'm going to reword it. Which do you prefer, AVAX or Luna?
Well, that's like saying, do you prefer, you know, apples or oranges? They're two different things. It's, you know,
I don't know. I would prefer one of those over the other.
Yeah, that's a bad analogy.
It's like cookies or sandwiches.
Yeah, it's like, there you go. It's like cookies or sandwiches. It's like one of them's like a snack food and one of them's a lunch. It just kind of doesn't really compare. Here's the deal. I think both of them have phenomenal technology. What I will say is this. If you look at CoinMarketCap, Avalanche is a layer 2 competing with it's a layer 1 competing with, I may have called Cardano a layer 2 earlier. I meant a layer 1. Avalanche is a layer 1 competing with a lot of layer 1s. It's competing with, you know, Solana, Cardano, Ethereum. It's competing to a certain extent with, you know, some other cryptocurrencies, but those are really the big four there. Avalanche, Cardano, Ethereum, and Solana being layer 1 protocols. Phantom it's kind of competing with as well. Luna's kind of in a league of its own. There's no real major algorithmic stablecoin project. So if I was going to bet on either one, I would probably bet on Luna because Avalanche has a lot more stiff competition. Avalanche has to go up against the likes of Cardano and Ethereum, and that is a tall order. I do think Avalanche will be successful, don't get me wrong, but I think that Luna is already positioned to be the #1 in its weight class, and that's what it's already doing, and I think it will sustain that. Great question.
Let's do one more, and then we'll jump into
Can I just note something that I thought was very good in chat?
Wow.
The guy named Unsavory Flint said cookies are better than sandwiches.
I mean, that's true. I like sandwiches,
Isn't
but
that,
cookies
hold
are
on, look, his name is Unsavory.
Unsavory Flint.
So he doesn't like savory, he likes cookies.
Oh, that's
well, what about if you get something like an Oreo, which is technically a cookie sandwich?
It's a cookie sandwich. But what if he goes to Subway and he gets a sandwich and then they want him to buy cookies? What does he do?
Now I feel embarrassed. No one thought it was funny.
I didn't think it was funny. I tried to make it. I tried to make it sound like.
To be fair, isn't an Oreo like a sandwich cookie?
That was what Smite said.
No, that's what Kelly said.
That's what Kelly said. Oh, well, that's true.
This is devolving.
All right, we're going to keep going back. One more question, then we're going to go back into our discussion here. Let's see here. Abdullah Safar said, do you think the bull market will end in mid-March? This is the date where the Fed will raise interest rate, and what are your thoughts about XRP and Dash?
Dash is a dead project, to be honest with you, unless something has happened in the last 4 years that I'm not familiar with. Dash, I remember when I got into cryptocurrency, was the big deal. It was the big kahuna, and everybody was getting nodes built on it, and they were making money on it. It's ranked number 81 now for a reason. I would not invest in Dash personally, just my opinion. Not a financial advisor. The other one was XRP, and then the other part of that was bear market in March. So as far as XRP is concerned, XRP is suppressed because of the SEC lawsuit. It has been for a while. I'm not personally heavily invested in XRP. Got a little bit of it. It's not the kind of project that I am the most interested in, but I'm not going to be a hater on it because I do think that it's providing a lot of value. And what Ripple is doing with all of its products, helping small banks be able to process remittances internationally, is a great thing. They're providing a lot of value in that market. And you know, people say like, oh, it's a banker's coin. It's not really. That's not really a fair assessment of it because yes, it's helping banks, but it's mainly focused on helping the small banks, not the big massive banks. So I don't have a problem with XRP. Yeah. I'm just not big invested in it.
No, I think the best way to put it, I actually think XRP potentially what it's really doing is allowing small banks to compete with big banks.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Very good.
That's a good way to put it. So I'm not personally hugely invested in XRP, but I do see a lot of opportunity there. And to be honest with you, I might eat my words on that and want to invest in it. We'll see. As far as the bull market ending in March because of raised interest rates, no, I don't think that's going to happen. Raising interest rates will cause a shock to the stock market, which will scare Bitcoin for a time. But within a couple of weeks, Bitcoin will probably have completely forgotten about that, to be honest with you, because it's 2 layers removed. Actually, it's 3 layers removed. Interest rates affect, so let's go through this. Interest rates affect the US dollar. The US dollar affects the stock market, and the stock market affects Bitcoin. So the effect starts getting smaller and smaller over time. I really don't think that that's going to cause a bear market. It's not going to be a great news story, more than likely. People are probably not going to jump out of their dollars to go into Bitcoin in that news case, but I don't think that's a big enough deal to stop the bull market. With that said, guys, what I want you to do are 2 things. Number 1, I want you to spam the chat with 3 coins that you would like us to do snapshots on, and we will do them here in a little bit.
If I'm going to give someone help direction, I've heard a lot of ask about Luna and Chainlink recently.
Yep.
So, and if those are ones you're interested in, make sure you hit those. Those are 2 that are on my mind to do that I know we haven't done here in a minute.
I'd love to do those.
Terra Lunar.
Yes, Terra Lunar. So make sure you go ahead and tell us in chat. Go ahead and spam it. You got 2 minutes, 120 seconds. Go crazy spamming in chat what you think. And secondly, hit that like button. We are 10 likes away from 1,000 likes. Let's get to 1,500 before the stream is over. Kelly, are you seeing any big headlines? I know you are, but what are they?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Caught me off guard there.
Sorry.
Where am I?
That's what we do best.
That's what we do best.
It's like Dwight from The Office. I love to rip open doors.
Here's a great one. So KPMG, which is, let me pull it up to the headline, is a massive, basically financial advisors parent company that has a ton of financial advisors around the globe. And they just basically announced that they didn't say what with specificity what the total was in terms of the percentage of the treasury, but they did make an announcement that they are adding Bitcoin and I believe Ether as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So financial firm KPMG is in Canada added Bitcoin and Ethereum to its balance sheets, which is it's massive. One, because it's not just an institution. If you think about it, it's a double-edged sword here, a bullish double-edged sword, because it's not just like a movie theater or a car business. No, this is a financial services firm. So the fact, the vote of confidence, if you will, that a financial services firm is adding a portion of their treasury, having it be Bitcoin and Ethereum will go miles. Also, it also signals that it's probably something very likely that they're going to start sharing that info and, what am I looking for here? The word, not incentive, but they're starting to provide those services to their clients. And what better vote of confidence in offering those sort of crypto asset options within their financial services to their clients than them saying that we hold it on our balance sheet as well. So this is a huge signal institutionally, and it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. If we're going to see, when they do their earnings reports, whatever that percentage is, but they're a massive company. I think you said, Tim, that they had over $30-something billion in
They average
revenue.
about $30 billion in revenue. Last year they did 32, but before that they were averaging around like 29.7 or something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, so just put that in perspective. Tesla, for example, was revenue was 52 billion. So yes, Tesla's bigger, but that's just how large they are. $30 billion of revenue every single year. They're not a small company.
Yeah. Wow.
So this will be incredibly bullish, and it's some of these things. It's kind of like if you've ever had a bunch of dominoes stacked up, and you see where they knock the dominoes down, and it's well, the first one or two is just like dot 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 dot, and it just picks up steam. And so we've been seeing this for the last about 2 years, and it seems like it's every few months, but now, like as this continues on, especially with the price levels where it's at, I've said this on my Twitter Spaces on Thursdays. I've said it here on the stream. I'm so excited, especially with the price action we've had at the beginning of this year, as the price is fallen to these basically attractive levels. Especially looking at this metric right here, this is a macro, very macro Fibonacci setup, and when you're thinking about institutional players, they're buying in at levels on a macro time frame, not where the price is in the volatility based on these short 4-hour, 1 day, 1 week time frames. But as you can see here, going all the way back to 2011, this price is essentially having this midway peak, midway sort of consolidation range, exactly where we're at now. Now, this one's longer, but that's also because the market's bigger. But we're falling right between this 1.272 and the 1.618, just like we have in all these previous cycles in the bull market. So I would really say this level that we're at now really is a really big determining level about if we're going to continue this bull trend upward on this macro level, or if we're going to define a whole different trend and break this 1.272 and come down. But to continue on with that, the last headline I really wanted to go over, and this was huge news. We all know Jack Dorsey stepped down from Twitter, but he also has his company called Block. I think it used to be called, was it Square? And Block is responsible for Cash App, and Cash App basically, as you can see here, Lightning Network is now available on Cash App, and it's the fastest free, yes, I said it, free way to pay anyone in Bitcoin, to transfer among friends, to send, cross-border payments, all this sort of stuff. And with Lightning Network, it sort of alleviates the tension from the considered slow in comparison to other cryptos, because the block time in Bitcoin is a lot slower than like whether you're sitting on XLM or XRP or Avalanche or all these other coins are a lot faster. But with Lightning Network, it's essentially a layer 2 on top of the Bitcoin network that allows you to send transactions much faster and much cheaper. And now it's integrating with Cash App, which is a huge deal. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. And I'm curious with you, your thoughts on this, Jebb. How do you think this is going to ripple, not XRP, but just, ripple through the markets in terms of the understanding, awareness, and even like utilization in places instead of something like Western Union or these other remittances sending cross-border? Do you think this is going to have more of a inclusive, like it's going to bring people on the lower trajectory of retail markets to be basically involved in the crypto and Bitcoin networks, because now they can send stuff like this cross-border to families if you're working here and sending back money back home to Mexico, or even pay between staff. How do you feel like this is going to ripple through the markets?
No, it's going to have huge effects, and we've already seen it happening in El Salvador. We actually, while we were at the North American Bitcoin conference, unfortunately there was an audio issue, but I actually interviewed the man that put together all of the onboarding and security for the wallets in El Salvador. They brought on 4 million people in the span of 90 days. They had to build a tamper-proof, hack-proof, fraud-proof system that could bring on an entire nation to use Bitcoin for remittances. And they are saving about 1% of El Salvador's GDP on remittances. 22 to 24% of El Salvador's entire gross domestic product was international bank transfers in the form of remittances. And if those bank transfers have between a 3 to 6% on average transaction fee on them, you take 3 to 6% of 22%, you got about 1% of gross domestic product going to bank fees. I'm sorry, Wells Fargo, El Salvador needs that money more than you do. It's that simple. What the man said, Justin Newton is his name, what he said from stage got a standing ovation in front of 3,000 people. He said, if we can save people $4 on transaction fees, that's enough money to feed a family of 4 lunch. And I had chills go down my spine when he said that. That put every hair on my body standing up. It got me so excited for what Bitcoin is doing. That right there is financial sovereignty. He got a standing ovation for it, and he deserved it, because El Salvador is better now for having Bitcoin. Lightning Network and the layer 2s that are built on top of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space are doing that around the world. That's one of the reasons I love Cardano. So yes, absolutely, that's going to have a big impact. Yes, absolutely, Cash App adopting this is going to have a big impact. Yes, absolutely, KPMG adopting Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin and Ether is going to have a huge impact, because like you said, it's lining up the dominoes and knocking them down. If you've ever seen that meme where you got one tiny domino that knocks over a bigger domino that knocks over a bigger domino, and then soon enough you're knocking over like one of the stones from Stonehenge, that size of a domino, that's what we're seeing right now, guys. We've seen it happening in droves over the last 10 years, but it's been picking up. 4 years ago when I got into cryptocurrency, it was unthinkable to think that a Tesla would adopt Bitcoin. It was unthinkable to think that a thing like Bakkt would launch. It was unthinkable to think that Starbucks would partner with Bakkt and would be accepting Bitcoin and crypto. It was unthinkable, all of these things. That Microsoft will be moving into metaverse in the area of blockchain gaming. That was insane. and now it's back of the it's back of the newspaper news. It's boring. We talk about, oh look, a company that does $34 billion a year in revenue or whatever it is, $30 billion a year in revenue just adopted Bitcoin Ether. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I saw that last week. That's what we're talking about here, guys. Sometimes some of the biggest, most groundbreaking news that changes the course of human history is not on the front page the day that it happens, but it is in the front page of the chapter in the history books, because when you look at it in hindsight, you realize how important it was. And that's what we're seeing happen right now with all of these different news stories. When we're seeing Cash App adopting Bitcoin, when we're seeing KPMG adopting Bitcoin, when we're seeing all of these major news stories that right now we think are nothing because, oh, we're so worried about Bitcoin's price being down from all-time high. Oh no, it's been in a downtrend for 3 months. I'm not knocking that. I understand a lot of people are down a lot of money. I am not invalidating your fear. That's not what I'm trying to do. But what I am trying to do is give you perspective and make sure you realize that the long-term fundamentals are the thing that matter, because in 10 years, you're not going to worry about a 3-month downtrend. You're going to remember that the fundamentals put you where you are today financially, and I hope that we can be a part in helping you to get there.
Here's a question I do have, Kelly. I don't know if the article said anything or if you've seen anything about this. Is there a limit on how much can be sent via Cash App?
I haven't seen that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I thought it was interesting because, obviously we had that article the other day about the bill that's going to be presented to allow Bitcoin transactions under $200 to be untaxed. Is this a way that we don't, is there going to be a bill that negates Cash App's ability to do this? Is this going to flow with it? Is Cash App going to adopt that number 200 and say, okay, anything under 200 is free, everything over that, then obviously due to regulation is going to have to be taxed? I want to see what happens there. I do think, though, what's really cool, and I don't think this is one of the headlines we were really going to talk that much about, but that article that came out is not a very important article in the grand scheme of things, but the JP Morgan asset management exec who said he's tempted to get Bitcoin, but he's not going to do it just yet. I thought it was really interesting because one of the things he said is you're not seeing any transactions of Bitcoin whatsoever. This completely changes that. This Lightning Network on Cash App is actually going to allow people to be moving Bitcoin and sending it and receiving it a lot more. So I wonder if JP Morgan's asset manager, what was his name? I have it right here. Michael Kembalist, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but I wonder if this is going to change it for him, because he's like, I'm so tempted to buy it, but I don't see it as gold just yet, and I don't see it as being a fiat currency. So right now I'm going to stay out of it. I wonder if this is what pushes him over the edge.
It's really funny. Jamie Dimon is losing control over JP Morgan's culture because everybody at JP Morgan wants to buy Bitcoin. I know people that work at JP Morgan. There's a bunch of people working at that company like, oh, I want to go buy Bitcoin. And Jamie Dimon's out here hating on it. He does not speak for his own company in that area. It's pretty funny. Go ahead, Kelly.
And one of the last things I wanted to share, and this is regards to the Cash App deal, is this right here. These are not wealthy people in many of these countries. They go to other countries to work and send money back home. And this article here, just in relationship to El Salvador, this isn't including Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, like any of these other, and this is globally too. I mean, this right here, just El Salvador alone in 1 year, they're basically taking $400 million back that they're having to give in fees just to send money through a Western Union or one of these other much slower, much more expensive services. So when you have these other services, these crypto projects like Lightning Network layered in with Cash App, you are going to inject $400 million just in El Salvador alone in a year back into the hands of the people, and the money that they earn, that all they're doing is trying to send it home, and they're paying these exorbitant fees that really add up over time. $400 million is a lot of money. I mean, it's hospitals, it's roads, it's new houses, it's the ability to pay and go to college. It's a lot. It's going to have a massive effect moving forward in terms of keeping the money in the hands of the people that made it versus giving it to somebody else just to transact. And that's really what blockchain is about, cutting out that unnecessary middleman.
Yep, $400 million. Unless I am doing some really stupid math, El Salvador's GDP is $25 billion. That's 1.6% of GDP that they're going to get back. That 1.6% of GDP. You know what you would do with an extra 1.6% of your income? If you're making $100,000 a year, that's $1,600. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. You can feed a family for 2 weeks on that. It's crazy.
So my dad actually just texted me. He must be watching along. He said, Cash App Cash App lets you send and receive up to 1,000 within any 30-day period.
So
you
that's
can increase you can increase the limits by
okay.
verifying your identity and your name and birth and all that kind of stuff. So
That's
there are some limits, but I think it's adjustable based on what sort of level of verification you have.
That's it.
Yeah, and also that is going to serve a lot of people in countries that do not have the same, prosperity that America does, where $1,000 is a lot more to somebody living in a nation like Nigeria or in El Salvador than it is in America. $1,000 in America is a lot of money, but it's a lot more money to a lot of people in the world. So that's something you got to keep in mind. This Cash App story is great for people in the first world and people in very developed nations that are very wealthy, but it's an even bigger story for people out there that really need the help that Bitcoin can provide.
Yeah.
With that said, let's go ahead and jump on into Ethereum, and then we're going to come back to some super chats here in a little bit. Tim, do you know what the other altcoins are that we're going to be looking at?
So a lot. The one that I saw a whole heck of a lot was definitely Algo.
Okay, we can look at Algorand.
Definitely Algo. And then based off of, there's a lot. There were some that were named that we've done more recently. So I'm going to go ahead and just make the executive decision. There are some that we'll try to keep all those names under, consideration for the future. But I'm going to go ahead and say Luna, VeChain, and what I say, Algo.
Cool. All right, Luna, VeChain, and Algo. Let's do it. We're going to start with Bitcoin. Guys, over the last week and a half, we're going to start with Ethereum. Over the last week and a half, ever since the 28th of January, Ethereum has been in an uptrend. In 9 days, it's up 37%, up $874. That is great. There are a couple of concerns, however. Out here on the 3-daily chart, we have a very large upper wick. We rallied all the way up to 3250. We wanted to get to 3400. We have not done that, and if this 3-daily chart candlestick closes tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., then we're going to have a shooting star forming here, and that could lead Ethereum to dropping back down to $2,800. Now, one of the other contrasts I want to bring to you is the fact that on Bitcoin, on the 3-daily chart, we have seen our bullish MACD cross. On Ethereum, however, that has not occurred yet. We have not seen our bullish MACD cross. We also have not seen Ethereum's RSI push up above 50. It's at 44 right now. Bitcoin is not there yet. It's at 47. But the point is, Bitcoin is leading this market right now. Ethereum is very much the one that is following. If we look at Lux Algo, I want to show you this on a bunch of different time frames here. Lux Algo has been pretty confident that we are in an uptrend this whole time. Had a little bit of a sell signal here. That got invalidated, and we continued to the upside. Saw a sell signal right here that's been very, very powerful, very, very good deal right there. On the 4-hourly chart, we're also seeing a sell signal as of this candlestick. Seeing a sell signal right here. That is indicative that we could have a downtrend. Now, it could be a fake out, as we've seen here. These signals are not perfect, but they are really good. We do have a confirmed sell signal right here, and we did push up into the reversal zone. Now, the one thing I want to point out here is that Bitcoin pushed very deep into these reversal zones on the 4-hour chart. See how we got into the second layer of the reversal zone and even briefly into the third layer here. We only ever got into the first layer of the reversal zone right here, indicating that the rally on Ethereum was never as strong as the one on Bitcoin. And that makes sense because it was Bitcoin's rally that Ethereum was following. Now, on the 8-hourly chart, we are still in an uptrend, but the problem on the 8-hourly chart is that we have a bearish engulfing candlestick formation right here, and we're testing $3,000 as support. We want to hold $3,000 as support, because if we don't, then what we're going to do is we're going to end up crashing all the way back down to $2,800. Shouldn't say crashing, we're going to drop down to $2,800. $200 on Ethereum is not a crash. But the reason that it's so important, in my opinion, that we hold this and rally to $3,400 before then pulling back down to 3K is because if we do that, then that would institute an inverse head and shoulders pattern right here, which would be very, very bullish, just like what we saw in Bitcoin. Again, very similar markets right now. This would give us a price target of $5,000. That would send us all the way back up to all-time high if that was confirmed and we actually followed through on it. So that's what I want to see on Ethereum. We have not seen as much bullishness on ETH as we have on Bitcoin, at least in the technical indicator landscape. So I am looking forward to seeing a little bit more bullishness on Ethereum. The good news is we do have a confirmed buy signal on the daily chart, and we are currently still above $3,000, which is the level that I said I want to see Ethereum above for 7 to 10 days. So Ethereum's looking okay, but we just need to see some more time there. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Luna. We've talked about Luna a little bit earlier. If you don't know what Luna is, you can find it on CoinMarketCap. It's worth $22 billion. Terra Luna. It is the #1 largest algorithmic stablecoin project in the cryptocurrency space. The reason that's so important is because when regulators inevitably come down on stablecoins, it's going to be much harder to come down on algorithmic decentralized stablecoins. So Terra has a lot of regulatory hardening built into the way that it was created. Looking at its chart, we can see that it has had a very steady growth ever since November of 2020. In that time, even to the downtrend of where it is right now, it has rallied 20,000%. That is the power of building a great product and then letting the community do the marketing, rather than spending $1 billion on marketing and then trying to deliver a product. Luna has already delivered a product that is being very successful and has a lot of great fundamentals behind it. Now, here's the deal on Luna. It is in a downtrend and has been for the time ever since Christmas. even right now, even on this little rally, it's still down 48%. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I think Luna deserves to be in the top 10, and I think that it's a phenomenal project that you should consider having in your portfolio. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know your situation, but I do think it's a good project. One of the things I can say is that Luna is actually respecting a longer-term uptrend right here with a ton of tests of support and resistance here, support right there, and then we actually bounced off of it right there. Looking down on our shorter-term time frames, if we zoom in a little bit, we can see that we have not seen a bullish buy signal coming in from Lux Algo just yet. We have seen that happen on Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of altcoins, but we have not yet seen it happen on Luna. For Luna to do that, we would probably need to go up to $65 to $70, and if that were the case, then that would probably follow Bitcoin moving into a large rally. It's bullish on MACD, but I'm not too worried about the MACD on the daily chart, and if we look at Lux Oscillator, we can see that it is green. So we do have one of three confirmations for a bullish Lux Algo flash on Luna. Just has not happened yet. So here's the deal with Luna, guys. Luna is lagging behind Bitcoin. If you watch yesterday's video, which if you haven't watched yesterday's video that went out on the channel about the altcoin engine, you need to watch that video. That's a really important video, because I explained something I call the altcoin engine about how Bitcoin leads and then it takes a break, and then the altcoins lead and then they take a break, etc. Right now, what's going on is Bitcoin is leading. It is the one that everybody's interested in. So the altcoins are not really doing as well as Bitcoin is because all the attention is on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin pauses, not if it goes into a massive crash that freaks everybody out and they start selling, but if Bitcoin, trades sideways up here around $40,000 for a while, that's going to give people a little bit of boredom, which can be healthy because it will help them to go and look at other investments other than Bitcoin. And if they're confident enough in the market, then they will go to projects like Luna and they will invest in them. What I would love to see Luna do is rally up to $87, as you can see right here, pull back down to $65, and then rally again, set an inverse head and shoulders pattern in motion, because that inverse H and S would give us a price target of $176. That would send Luna to an $80 to $90 billion valuation. I'm not quite sure it's ready for that, but it would definitely be a very large rally that you guys would be able to make a lot of gains off of. So that's my opinion on Luna. The next one we said we were going to do is Link. Is that it? Or is it VeChain? You said Link or VeChain?
Oh, no, yeah, sorry. VeChain.
You said VeChain. You said VeChain. Let's go ahead and take a look at VeChain, guys.
I think Chainlink is the other one.
Chainlink's the other one? I thought you said Algo.
Man, that's true. Let's do VeChain today, and then let's do Link. I'll do Link tomorrow.
Cool. All right, so VeChain. We've talked about VeChain relatively recently, but we're going to talk about it again because you guys wanted it. VeChain is the, as far as I'm aware, the leader in blockchain supply chain logistics management. That is a massive industry, literally moving things. Like that's a multi-trillion-dollar industry, just moving things, just moving around, just moving, this microphone from wherever it was made to where it is right now. Moving things, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. You got Amazon with $3 trillion worth of infrastructure to manage that company. You got FedEx and you got DHL and you got, all of these different companies that move the United States Postal Service. These are all supply chain logistics companies, and we're not even talking about industrial supply chain logistics. Supply chain logistics is one of the largest branches of our entire economy. VeChain is attempting to work on improving that branch of our economy using blockchain and verifiable ownership. So as far as the price is concerned, we have been in a bull flag ever since April of 2021. What do I mean? Well, we've had 2 lower highs and 2 lower lows, meaning that we're in a big downtrend. However, if you just draw a simple price target here, that actually gives us a price target, as you can see, of about $1.50 on VeChain. We're at 6 cents right now. I'm not saying, by the way, that we're going to go to $1.50, because if VeChain went to $1.50, then it would probably be worth over $100 billion, and I don't think it's ready to be worth over $100 billion. But the point is, VeChain will probably at least rally all the way back up to its downtrend here at 13 cents. That would double it from $4 billion market cap all the way up to $8 billion market cap. I do think, by the way, that it's going to hold this longer-term uptrend right here, because that is the uptrend that has been in play ever since pretty much the inception of VeChain. We had tests on it back here in August of 2018, back here testing resistance in July of 19, resistance here in July and August of 2020, and now we tested it as support. If we look at the shorter term time frames using Lux Algo, we're going to be able to see some interesting things as well, namely that there is a buy signal that has flashed on the daily chart. Buy signal has come into play. The last 5 to 6 days have been very bullish. We traded sideways for a while. We did not break bearish. That's good. It means that the bulls are still in charge. We see that there is green trend catcher, green buy signal, and we can also see that there is green Lux oscillator. That's all great. MACD on the daily chart is bullish, and we're about to see a bullish MACD cross on the 3 daily chart. I will tell you that VeChain is pretty much right now in the exact same position that Bitcoin is in. It's attempting a rally. It's got reasons to believe that it's going to rally, but it's still waiting on confirmation. So yes, VeChain's looking great, and in a week or so, it might be a great time to put a trade in here and wait for the rally all the way back up to 13 cents, which would be 100%, 90%. However, I don't think that we're there quite yet. That's my take on VeChain. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to Algorand. Algo is another cryptocurrency that you guys ask us about quite a bit. We're going to look at it over on Huobi because that's where I tend to do my analysis on Algo. Algorand, we can show you over here on CoinMarketCap. It's ranked number 26, worth $6.6 billion, sitting at $1 right now. You might mistake it for a stable coin, but I promise it's not. If we look at its chart, we can see that it has had a very stair-steppy movement to the upside. Is that a word? No, it's not, but I'm going to make it a word. That's what we've done. We've had a stair-steppy movement to the upside. We've had 3 major rallies ever since the flu happened in 2020, and Bitcoin had a massive drop. So too did Algo. Algo dropped in the span of 24 days. 82%, but from there it rallied and came back like a phoenix. In 150 days it rallied 740%, then it would rally 740% again, then it would rally 300%. And right now, it is in the process of breaking down out of this longer-term uptrending level of support. The good news for Algo and anyone holding it is that there is strong support beneath it, sitting here at around 76 cents. It's currently at $1, which is great, but it does have strong support down here at 76 cents. And in fact, we have set this level of support multiple times. We set it 3 times back here in May, June, and July. And we've also set higher highs that have indicated that this market is still moving to the upside. Fundamentals are strong. What I would tell you is just very similar to what I've told you on Bitcoin and ETH. Right now, it is in an uptrend, and it is attempting to move to the upside. However, it's not very strong. In fact, it's actually a lot weaker than what we just looked at on VeChain. It does not have a bullish buy signal here on the daily chart. If we look at the 3 daily chart, we do not have a bullish MACD cross, no bullish Lux Algo cross. We're not above the moving average on RSI. So personally speaking, I think there's opportunity in Algo, but I do think that there are bigger opportunities in other cryptocurrencies if you're looking to do a 30 to 90 day trade. Not talking about investment, not going to go there. We're not talking about fundamentals right now, but as far as technicals are concerned, if you're looking to trade it, right now I would say that VeChain is looking a lot better. Bitcoin and Ethereum are looking pretty solid too. Algo, not quite sure I like the setup on it if you're planning to long that market. With that said, Tim, do you have any thoughts on any of those altcoins I just talked about?
Yeah, I think you hit it pretty good. What I'm really looking for with those is let's watch what happens to the Bitcoin. I did look at and pretty in depth on Luna. I think Luna was the one I was looking at that is currently in a. I'm trying to get to my chart so I don't misspeak. I don't know what just happened there. What the heck? I'm pretty sure it was in a rising wedge that we're close to the bottom. Again, my thing just did something really stupid. There we go. All right. Yeah, we're close to the bottom actually in a long-term falling wedge. Like if you were to go out to the daily chart, you can draw that falling wedge, or sorry, rising wedge. Excuse me. And similar to how I'm predicting crypto, the Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to potentially correct here a little bit. It would make a lot of sense to come back down to that ascending level of support before rally. I don't think it's ready to break bearish yet. I do think we're going to rally here within the next couple of months, hit a new all-time high, potentially up in the region of around $163 before we maybe then start to correct again massively. Again, that's also the region where a lot of people are asking, is that going to be the end of the altcoin, at least the altcoin bull cycle? But we'll see. You know, that's just what I'm seeing on the chart right now. I didn't go down and look at the hourly or 4 hourly to see what's going to happen over the next couple of days. But long term, if I'm looking out weeks and months, I like where Luna's sitting.
Boom. There you go, guys. Well, let's go ahead and read some super chats, catch up on all those, and then we're going to do our price predictions.
Yeah, let's see. We got a good amount now. So first, B8 $4 is the name. Member for 2 months now is a Jebb Youngling. Said, when is the Crypto Jebb team hosting a wild party for the fans to all meet?
I would love to do that. I'm not sure when, but I would love to do that.
I mean, we could do it at Bitcoin 2022.
I don't know if it'll be wild.
Listen,
oh, it's gonna be wild.
Smay's gonna be there. It's gonna be
there. It's gonna be wild.
Let's see here. I already read this one. Abdullah's one. Jay Kaz said, my portfolio is down about 30%. I refuse to sell at a loss. How long can a true bear market last if we enter one?
True bear market can last, 2 years. I don't think that'll happen, but it could. So it depends on what did he say? What crypto he was in? I'm sorry, I was reading chat.
Nope, he just said he's down 30%.
Down 30%. Yeah. So the thing you got to keep in mind is that some projects are pretty much proven and they're probably not going anywhere and they probably will hit all-time high. A lot of them are not. If you're in Bitcoin, it's all but guaranteed that it's going to hit all-time high again. Ethereum, pretty much all but guaranteed it's going to hit all-time high again. Same thing with Cardano. Same thing with a couple other projects. I do think XRP, for example, will hit all-time high again. The issue with that is that you have to make sure that if you're down 30% and you're going to hodl through that downtrend, you got to make sure you're in the right project. You got to be able to bet on that trend. That you got to be able to bet on those fundamentals. So just keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with hodling through a bear market. I've done it before. I hodled all the way through the 2018 bear market. I did not sell a penny during that. And I bought a lot. I bought, for me, what was a lot at the time, like $20, you know, up at, and, you know, a couple $100 up above $15,000. I hodled all of it. And so there's nothing wrong with hodling through a bear market. Just make sure you're hodling the right thing.
Yeah. Matt C said, did someone say you needed some coffee? I'm buying.
Thank you very much, Matt C. Appreciate that.
Nate LA said, could you look at link, please, if there is time? Nate, we're going to look at that tomorrow. I go ahead and I'll put it somewhere. Kelly, can you put a note that we're going to do link tomorrow for TA?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. Let's look here. Mike Markle said, good morning, friends. I was wondering if we could get some of Kelly's insight on ADAX. Is this still the place to buy? And what's the timeline look for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we discussed this a bit yesterday, but, you know, everybody gets very invested and emotionally when they buy into a project, especially when it's moving into what they think is a big date, like whether it be a launch date, like in this case the DEX launched. But I think there's quite a bit of coordinated FUD around it on launch, and the CMO Dovidas actually went through and contested every one of the FUD pieces on this Twitter profile that was putting out all this stuff. But that being said, they're doing a great job. Their team has been really hard at work. I'm following along in their Telegram group, and from what I've read, they're looking to be I think by the end of this week launching all their updates of basically the version 1.1, which is going to address a lot of user suggestions about how to really shape this up to be the best DEX available. And once that happens, essentially what they're going to be doing, they've been slow playing it, much like Cardano does or has done over the last few years. They've been slow playing some of the things that will be needed to roll in, which is getting a lot more liquidity put on exchange from the projects that are involved, because they have a number of projects already available on the DEX, but there's not much liquidity. But they're waiting to get that TVL from the projects themselves until they get the updates rolled out and everything is super ship shape to do that. So being that the price has gone all the way up, I think at one point to $2.60, and right now there was the sell-off that happens at the launch, which happens with almost, especially microcaps. There's a lot of volatility, but is this a good entry point? I'm going to have to let you make that your own call. But being that there's a lot to come with this project, and their development team is being so responsive and like super tuned into making all adjustments needed, and they have a lot of marketing that'll be coming up. They have a lot of liquidity that'll be coming up. They have more wallets that they're going to be working to integrate on their service. I mean, comparatively where the price has been and where it is now, I think you'll be able to make the right call on whether or not this is a good entry.
Boom. Good deal.
Let's go. Keep going on here. We have one from Cody. Cody Colgrove. This is a chat, just a regular one. If we have cash on hand, should we wait or start DCAing?
I think it's not a bad idea to start DCAing already. I have a lot of my friends and family DCAing right now. And again, not a financial advisor. I don't think there's anything wrong with dollar cost averaging. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll keep moving on. We have a super chat from Crypto Alchemist, and he clarified something. He said, do you guys think that the recent hack and to Solana are going to lead to its demise? Is it just circling the drain at this point with big money to save it? He clarified, he said, I'm sorry, super chat. I should say hack and network congestion. So we kind of discussed that a little bit, Jebb. I want you to answer that, but we kind of were talking about how that wasn't actually a Solana hack. It was a bridge hack.
It was a bridge hack,
So
yeah.
do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of concerns around Solana and about how the token distribution went, and that there's a bunch of big money players in it, and that it's centralized, and that there's, weaknesses in the chain, and that there's, different things that have to happen on it. The fact is, those are all very, very important. It just really is, and you need to do your research on that. I'm not personally invested in Solana, and I have not gone and done a ton of research on everything that's going on with Solana. I don't profess to be an expert on it. I'm not invested in it, so it's not something that I put a lot of time and effort into researching. I put a lot of time and effort into researching, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and all these other projects I'm invested in. Solana's not one I hold, so I'm not the foremost expert on it. But what I do encourage you to do is, if you're looking to invest in Solana, you need to go and you need to chase those rabbits, and you need to say, what's going on with the leadership? What's going on with the way these funds were raised? What's going on with the token allocation? What's going on with who has all the tokens? What's going on with the centralization concerns? What's going on with the hacking concerns? What's going on with all this bad press? Is it just a bunch of FUD, or is there something to it? If you're investing in Solana, you need to know the answer to that, because if you hold Solana, you are a fractional owner of Solana. So that you have a vested interest in that, because you have your money locked up in that. So if you are invested in Solana, you need to go and do that research. And I'm planning on doing a lot more research on Solana so that I can help you with that. I haven't yet, though, so I don't want to speak on something I'm not the most familiar with, though.
Last super chat, and just so you guys know, if anyone super chats, we'll just add that to tomorrow's list. So this will be the last one we read today, and we're going to be brief with the answer. But Zebra's asked, got into cake heavy around $13 for a long-term hold and staking. Is it worth holding? Don't know if cutting losses and swapping it is my best option. So let's try to answer as brief as possible, but...
Yeah, so PancakeSwap is a great project. $13 is, a third of its all-time high, and I do think PancakeSwap will end up going back to all-time high. I think that, but I'm not invested in it. I'm not an expert on it. To be honest with you, I can't really answer that question very well. Kelly, are you more familiar with PancakeSwap to be able to give a great answer to that?
I'm loosely aware. It's they've got an incredible amount of traffic and volume that operates through PancakeSwap. But in terms of like where it's going or what's at, I'm a little out of touch with that. Just being so tuned into all the content that we've been creating here.
Yeah, for real. Well, good deal, guys. Let's go ahead and move into our price predictions.
Yeah, so we've been doing this the last couple weeks. I have mine and Smay's, but Kelly wants to give his, so I'm gonna let Kelly go first.
Caliculum.
42,861 and 73 cents.
All right, say this number again.
42,850.
850. All right.
You changed it.
42,850. Jeb, what do you got?
Friday's the 11th. Friday the 11th. I think that we are going to see Bitcoin trading at... What did Kelly say? 42,850?
Well, you can't make your prediction based off him.
I know. I'm just trying to remember.
That's strategy.
That's
right
true.
there,
That is strategy right there. Let's do it. $45,000.
Wow.
Gonna do it.
Wow.
I'm gonna do it. I did it.
I love it.
Thank you.
love it.
Am I in a bad spot?
Wait.
You're the
You
highest.
know what?
I'm the highest. Oh, okay.
We didn't even bring this up. So for those of you that watch regularly, we've changed the time that we do this from 9:30 to 10:45. And last week, if you weren't watching last week, you don't understand how exciting it was because in the course of about 16 hours, every single one of us would have won the HODL trophy at that moment. It went from 36 all the way up to 43, I think. And so it was just really interesting.
And I was winning 7 minutes before the end.
Tim and Jebb, they were neck and neck.
So salty.
It was super exciting.
I was winning 7 minutes before it closed. At 10:38, I would have won.
And all that matters is at the exact second.
It's true.
Here's where it gets good, guys. So I love it. Jebb is the highest. I'm going to go ahead and say Jebb is the highest predictor of $45,000, followed by Kelly at 42,850. So I will tomorrow present the math on what if it gets between them, if it stays like where it is right now, what's that level for one of them to win? Smay is behind him. Poor Smay. Smay is at 41,420, which sandwiches him pretty nicely between Kelly's 42,850 and my prediction of 40,525. I was worried I predicted too high. I was worried that I wasn't low enough, but I love the fact that I'm actually the lowest price on this one.
Wait, what did you say? 42 what?
You're 42,850, and I'm 40,525.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, I like my position.
Yeah, you're the highest.
I
You're definitely
like
the highest.
where I
Again,
am.
And mine tracks with my reasoning that I think we're at least going to eventually touch 39 again. So, there's a lot of candles and wicks right there sitting around the price that I
Tim,
have.
the good news is I'm going to be gone tomorrow at my monthly meeting, and every time I leave, Bitcoin moonshots.
Well, no, or it crashes. It does something interesting. It either crashes or it rises.
It's never a boring day when I'm gone.
It's true.
The whales always
really
make sure to keep it interesting so that Tim has an interesting show.
Yeah, you got to keep it. No, here's something we are going to be doing, just so everyone knows. So if you guys tune in a little late, we're going to be doing our show tomorrow. So that is what we're doing tomorrow. We're not going to do crazy amount. I don't think we're going to do Ethereum TA unless something crazy happens there too. But we're going to be a little bit briefer with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple altcoins. It will be an hour-long show. So if you join us at 10:31. We're probably not live anymore, but it'll still be a great show. Make sure you join us. It will be awesome.
Well, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to Coffee and Crypto. We go live 9:30 Eastern every single weekday. Please make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. We got 1,300 likes. I know we can get to 1,500 before the show wraps out. Make sure to follow me on my social media. On our social media, at CryptoJebb. We're at CryptoJebb over on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at CryptoJebb Official over on TikTok. We post daily to all of those platforms. We actually got a lot of really cool posts that have just gone out over on my Twitter, so make sure you check out the Twitter account. And also, guys, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo if you haven't already. It's a phenomenal technical indicator I use as part of my tool belt So does Kelly. So does Tim. And we absolutely love this indicator. We use it every single day. And if you want to get access to it, you can do so with the link in the description box down below. Use coupon code Jebb, J-E-B-B, for 20% off at checkout. Guys, I will not be here tomorrow. Tim will be hosting the show, but I'll be back on Thursday, bright and early. Really looking forward to it. I cannot wait. Before I go, though, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.